Hello, you fantastic people, and welcome back to Borderlands 3 to my level 72 shotgun only flag build. I kind of want to do a top 5, top 10 in shotguns in the game, and I kind of also want to make it into a flag build, so I thought, why not? I'll combine it into one video for you guys. If you either want to know what the best shotguns are in the game, or if you want a flag build that is perfect for shotguns, I got you guys sorted in this video. I'm going to jump straight into gameplay though for you guys, because there is so much gameplay to condense into one video so you can see them all in action and really get a good idea of what's good at bossing, what's good at mobbing, and what the best of the best shotguns are in the game. I ran pretty much any even slightly viable weapon, any shotgun weapon, through the Melee 1 takedown today, to the point where I'm just blatantly bored of the Melee 1 takedown. Way too many runs were done today, but I tested them all out. I saw them all in different situations, and I now know what my favorite are in this list. Like all my other build videos, I'll go through everything you guys need to know for this build, and if you guys want to use any of the shotguns, I'll let you guys know the best variations to go for, the best anointments to have on them, the skill tree loadout, of course, at 72, the gear you guys want, shields, artifacts, grenades, class mods, as well as Mayhem modifiers if you guys don't rock Mayhem 11. First off, we have the anointments you guys want to rock with this build. It is a 3-shot fadeaway build, so I'm primarily using my favorite anointment, 100% bonus weapon damage on action skill, and it is just a good staple to go for. There's a few other great options though. For example, consecutive hits is great. It did get nerfed relatively recently, but is still a great option, particularly for high pellet ones and those with high fire rate as well, particularly shines with. Next to max elemental damage is great also, particularly for weapons that either don't have an elemental type or have one particular elemental type locked on it. So if you want to try and be more efficient, if you're just using that one weapon, you won't have to swap off if you're using next to mags. And finally, 150% bonus weapon damage whilst over 90% health is a great one if you're trying to one-shot enemies. There is only one gun I'm currently using that anointment on, but you could use it if you want to, or if you essentially don't have the iridium to reroll the anoint off the particular weapon you're using. For weapons that are made for one dinking, like a Hellwalker, I don't use it on, but you could use it in mobbing situations because it does have the power to one dink most melee 1 dudes. It's just when you get to bossing situations, the anointment's going to be pretty useless. Oh, and of course, you could use URAD if you want to change the build up a little bit to be a URAD build. That's not what I currently have it set up as, though, at the moment. As for Mayhem modifiers, I rock Mayhem 11 just because I can't be bothered re-rolling the Mayhem modifiers every time I do a build. But if you're using Mayhem 10, I would highly recommend either Big Kick Energy or something like Speed Demon or Loot Explosion if you guys want a ton of legendary loot for the easy modifier. As a medium and hard modifier, Healy Avenger and Drone Ranger are the two that I just always go. They're so neutral, they don't have a chance to do anything when you're playing as Flak or any character that just does a ton of damage. They just don't have time to heal. As for the very hard modifier, I would go Holy Crit for this one if you are accurate. Otherwise, I would go Body System. Now, as for the shotguns themselves, there is actually 13 different ones that I have in this backpack for you guys, which, by the way, there is always a save file in the description or the Discord if you guys would like to download it and try it out for yourselves. But my favorite ones, I'll give you guys like the top 5, and then the rest, honestly, just they're viable. Try them out, give them a go. They are fun. Pretty much all of them are fantastic at least one thing, either bossing or mobbing. Some are fantastic, ridiculously good at both, and then some you kind of got to like build around, and it's really fun to use that if you specialize your build around that gun. There's probably a bunch of gameplay still showing on screen, you know, individual guns. You guys can see them in different aspects and see how they go at both situations, Melee 1 takedown, against bosses, etc. But I'll give you guys my top 5, starting with the number 1 place. We'll just jump straight into it, being, of course, if you hadn't guessed, the Hellwalker Jacob shotgun is insane. It's been insane for like pretty much a year at this point. If you guys didn't know, this thing is fantastic. It is a Doom reference, makes an awesome noise, and hits like an absolute truck. By default, it has 2 bullets in the mag, but if you have any mag size bonus on any of your gear, it really helps out getting an extra shot into it so you don't have to be reloading as often. The reload time is only 1 second, plus you can buff that down even more if you guys would like. But aside from pretty much that only negative, I think it's the best shotgun in the game at the moment for all characters, especially Flak with a fadeaway build. It one dinks pretty much all the Melee 1 dudes, and it is fantastic for bossing. Even though it is a fire-locked weapon, if you use your action skill and elemental taps next to mags or a revolter shield, you'll just get through anything. It doesn't matter. Particularly like Wotan, a armored enemy, you just shred him, which is just shows how sick this gun is. The Garcia is a number 2 spot easily for me. It does come in times 12 or times 16 variations. You want to go for a times 16. You'll see a huge difference in your damage. This thing has been one of my favorite shotties since the very start of the game. The semi-automatic, it used to be like as fast as you pull the trigger, it will fire. Unfortunately, it is now a 2-pump situation, which... please Gearbox fix, I really miss it. But it's now more like the Hellwalker rather than being slightly weaker, but you can just, you know, spray into enemies. Now it's a 2 dink or 1 dink, depending on what kind of enemy it is. Hits really, really hard. 20k times 16 is nice, and the mag size is huge. 20 by default, and you can, of course, boost that with your passives as well. Now, as for third place, we have the Butcher Hyperion shotgun. This thing currently, I'd probably agree with you if you tried to say that this was the best shotgun in the game, because it feels like a modded weapon. It's that stupid at the moment. It has incredible damage, but the main thing is the fire rate is insane. There is practically no recoil, or very easy to manage recoil, and it never runs out of bullets. As long as you're hitting stuff, particularly with Flak with his Leave No Trace, you'll never run out of bullets. You can shoot at a wall for a very long time and still not run out, which makes absolutely zero sense. Extremely balanced. It's just hands down, great work. It also comes in all elemental types, including non-elemental, so it's very easy to be efficient in any situation. And it world drops is in base game. It's just all round a great gun, to the point where I don't use it as much because I feel like I'm cheating the game. But it's a good one if you haven't used it. The number 4, the Convergent Shotgun from DLC 4. It drops from Dr. Benedict, and you can get it to world drop, I believe, rarely. It is a pain, extreme pain to farm, but is a really awesome gun, animation-wise and damage-wise. You can also get in all elemental types and non-elemental. The problem is, the dedicated drop rates in DLC 4 are horrifically low, but also this thing comes in a times 3, a times 4, a times 6, and a times 8 variants, and you want the times 8. So it's very rare to get that. Plus, again, all elementals, including non-elemental, means it is very RNG to get the good ones. But if you can get a times 8 with the elemental type you want, it is a fantastic gun. The little spike animation thing is really cool to watch, and I love this gun. As for the 5th place, honestly, it's kind of tied. I might give you the top 6, to be honest. The Dakota Shotgun, currently in my 5th spot. This is a purple shotgun from DLC 3. It is a mission reward for the final mission. It is fantastic. It is non-elemental in quotation marks, but it actually shoots fire and shock bullets as well as non-elemental. In, I believe, a pattern, it's just kind of looks randomized, to be honest. You can't really use it tactically, and it is also a fully automatic weapon. You can hold the trigger down and it'll just keep firing, which is really cool. It does have some recoil, but it is, you know, you can manage it. It's not like the Butcher, but it is manageable. And also it does have a solid mag size of 9, plus you can buff that as well. Highly recommend you guys getting that one. And as for the 6th spot, which you could interchange with 5 if you want, is the Reflux Shotgun. Mayhem 6 plus exclusive from Genevieve only, or the Guardian Takedown in base game, is fantastic. It got buffed relatively recently and is one of the best mobbing guns, let alone shotguns, in the game right now for Flak. It chains to enemies nearby, kind of like the Brainstormer shotgun it used to do and used to be good at. Please buff that gun, Gearbox. And this thing is insane. It does so much damage. Even against individual enemies, it is pretty damn good. But as soon as you have, you know, multiple enemies nearby, it'll chain near them and just do so much area effect damage. It's awesome. Guardian Takedown, if you want a shotgun, that's your number 1 shotgun. Use a Reflux. If you want to be melee 1 takedown as well, it's also great. It's just not fantastic against bossing situations. Very particular bosses it'll do okay at, and others, because it is a corrosive locked weapon. That's why it's down at 6th spot. Now, as for the rest of the ones that I'm not going to put in a particular order, the Iceberger, it's a bit of a meme gun that I honestly had just, you know, ignored when it came out originally for the cartel event, and then I used it for a challenge boss fight on stream. Turns out it's actually pretty solid in mobbing situations. Not fantastic for all bossing. It's not bad, but in mobbing situations, it's actually pretty good. The laser's fantastic. It also shoots out hamburgers that explode cryo damage, and believe it or not, they kind of slap. Give it a go if you haven't. It's worth a try at least. The Heartbreaker If you guys could get a ×8 variant, I believe it's from DLC 1, is a Moxie shotgun, which means it actually has a lifesteal, so it's fantastic for survivability, and it has 18,000 ×8 damage. Like, that's up there with the best shotguns in the game, so it is pretty damn good. It just lacks kind of the fire rate. Mag size is pretty solid. It is 8, but it does consume... Doesn't actually say it on the card, but I'm pretty sure it consumes 2 bullets per shot. Regardless, fantastic shotgun. You can get multiple elemental types. I'm not 100% sure on non-elemental, but regardless, try it out if you guys would like. Next, we have the Stagecoach Purple Shotgun, one of the original best shotguns for flak in the game when it originally came out, and they nerfed it into the oblivion, and you can't really use it as you used to anymore, but it is still a pretty damn good shotgun at the moment. If you guys haven't tried it out, it is difficult to get because it's a purple. You can only get it from rare world drops. If you actually pay attention to your purples, you might find them. You can get it from the Iridian Fabricator, from gun vending machines. It is difficult, but you can get a ×25 variant, and also the mail system. This is actually where I got mine, the mail system. It is really, really good for mobbing situations. Bossing, there's better options. There's elemental types for other weapons, whereas this one's only non-elemental. But it's fun to mess around with. Very nostalgic if you guys have been around from the start of the game. The Tiggs Boom ×18 Mayhem 4 exclusive from the Melee 1 takedown only. You can get all elemental types except non-elemental. I currently only have a corrosive one, but I tried it out today. It's actually a pretty good shotgun. You down yourself a lot if you're playing up close and personal, but it is good. I would say primarily for bossing situations, if the enemy, except for pretty much anyone like Gravelords, things like Traunt, things like Wotan, if they're standing on the ground, you'll be able to use this very effectively. We also have the Conference Call. This thing, it does lack damage compared to the rest, but is actually a fun weapon to use. Pretty decent, I would say, in mobbing situations. And considering I only have a fire one, I took on the whole Melee 1 takedown with no problem at all. So I'd highly recommend you guys trying that out as well. And then we have the One Pump Chump. This one would require a different variation of the skill tree to what I have for all the rest, because it is the only single pellet shotgun in here that I'm using that I would recommend. It's honestly kind of like a sniper rifle. If you're incredibly accurate and like just going for headshots, this thing is a ton of fun. It does 130,000 damage per single pellet. You can double that with an Infernal Wish, and you can double that 25% of the time with Two Fang via flak skill tree, and it means you can get one shots on pretty much all Melee 1 dudes, and you can do it to bosses as well. It's really fun. I'll show you guys the slight variation in the skill tree later for that, and that is my only gun I'm using 150/90 anoint on. And finally, the 13th shotgun, my Twitch chat's highest recommendation, the Shoddy, or the 100% genuine Fakeubs. I don't have any gameplay to show you guys, but trust me, DLC 3 side mission, it takes literally like 2 minutes. Fantastic weapon, could not recommend it higher. Go check this one out as well. Now, as for the gear, you guys want to rock the shields. The main one that I was using is the Revolter. That 200% bonus shock and that 50% fire rate is really hard to pass up. It is definitely one of the best shields in the game right now. Get Action Skill Start Anoint on there and you are set. As for other options, DLC 2 Old God is fantastic. The Snowshoe is fantastic for mobbing situations. The Infernal Wish we are using with the One Pump Chump for getting that extra projectile. It's not worth using for any multi-pellet shotguns because it only adds 1 pellet, which is a fraction of its overall damage. And if you want base game huge survivability, go for a stopgap if you can get Turtle on it for extra capacity. Sweet, and Action Skill Start really helps there with the anoints. As for the grenades, we got Cloning or Mitosis Hunter Seekers with all elemental types, with all elemental action skill and anointments as well. These things are fantastic for stacking your Bounty Hunter class mod as well as your Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. Plus, they do damage themselves as well. As for the class mods, Bounty Hunters or the Stalkers in mobbing situations. Bounty Hunter's the main one that I use because, one, it's just the strongest. It's fantastic for getting your kill skills up really easy and does a ton of damage in bossing situations as well. And it's a little easier to get, to be honest. It's in base game. It's from one boss. You only have to farm them. It's a little bit easier. Whereas the Stalker, if you have a really good roll, is the mobbing choice. Don't use it in bossing situations, but is incredibly strong if you get the perfect roll like I have on the right-hand side here. 3 in big game is huge. It busts all your hunt skills and is ridiculously strong, but only if you get really good rolls like that. As for the artifacts, we are using the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge because you stack that incredibly quickly with shotguns with multiple pellets. Max has fire rate is the ideal passives there. Other options, we have a heap. We have Jacobs or Hyperion or any other shotgun type you're using. Company Man, if you get a perfect roll like you can see on the right hand side, that is insanely good. And if you guys can get that, it is going to be the same, if not better, than your Pearl. You can use a Snowdrift Auto Idle or Victory Rush with some mag size bonus, some area effect bonus. Shotgun damage can even roll in there. So from base game, both are great options. The Toboggan, if you guys want to try and one-shot things, like bosses with the one-pump chump or any other shotgun, you can use that as well. I also always have a cut-burst launch pad on me at all times. It's just fantastic for getting ammo back. If you're only using one kind of gun, you do tend to run out of ammo in like a melee one or a Guardian Takedown, depending on which one you guys are using. And I also have a Schluter in there for the save file if you guys would like it. As for the level 72 shotgun only flak skill tree, we got Fadeaway, of course. We're using Not My Circus with Unblinking Eye for the augments, your classic 3-shot fade setup. As for the skill points spent, we got 5 points in Furious Attack. Shooting things stacks up your damage, which is very easy to have full stacks all the time with shotguns. 5 points in Overclock for increased fire rate, and then even more after reloading. 5 points in Eager to Impress because we want action skill, aka our fadeaway, back all the time, looping as quickly as possible. Fade is just so damn strong, and if we can loop the Revolter ability, our action skill and anointments and elemental types is going to be key for this build to do maximum damage. 3 points in Turn Tail and Run, increase gun damage and fire rate while still, damage reduction and health regeneration whilst moving. 1 point in Lick the Wounds, Pet will be able to pick you up if you die to a barrel or something stupid like that. 5 points in Hidden Machine, 30% extra damage when the enemy can't see you or is targeting somebody else via Unblinking Eye. That happens pretty regularly or whenever you're in Fadeaway. 3 points in the Fast and the Furious, gun damage, pet damage, movement speed, all nice things. And then the capstone, 1 point in Power Inside, 25% extra damage whenever you start your action skill, or 50% extra damage for 15 seconds if you're at full health at the time of starting your action skill. Now, this isn't actually a DLC dependent build, but I did chuck 4 points in agility training for just that extra reload speed. You don't have to put those 4 points there. You can actually chuck them in the reload speed in Red Tree if you don't have the DLC. But if you do, that's where I put those points. It's just a more effective way to get faster reload with less points spent. As for Blue Tree though, we got 3 points in Persistent Hunter, increases our gun damage and action skill duration. 2 points in Ferocity just to get down the tree. 5 points in Frenzy, increases our damage whenever Pet shoots things. If we have 1 point in He Bites whenever Pet gets shot, that also stacks Frenzy. At max stacks, 40% extra damage. That is incredibly, incredibly strong. As for Red Tree, we've got 3 points in Leave No Trace. This is huge for shotguns, particularly multi-pallet ones. Whenever you hit a critical hit, you have a 36% chance to put bullets back in the mag. That is going to happen pretty much every time with at least 80% of the shotguns we're using at the moment. 5 points in Interplanetary Stalker. It is a kill skill that gets you increased damage. 5 points in Hunter's Eye. We have an extra 2 from our class mod at the moment. We're going to get all of those bonuses there for all bosses if you're using a bounty hunter, or those individual ones if you're using a stalker. 3 points in head count. Action skill cooldown rate whenever you hit a critical hit is essential. You want to try and get action skill back as quickly as possible, like I said. Now, Two Fang, this is the only ability that I change for the one pump jump. If you're using multiple pallet shotguns, like 95% of them in the backpack at the moment, don't spec Two Fang. You only get 1 extra pellet. It's not worth that little bit of extra damage. But if you're using a single pellet one, like the one pump chump, that is a 25% extra damage for 5 points spent. So if you want to use the one pump chump, put 5 points here, take a couple points out of Hunter's Eye, take 3 points out of Grim Harvest, stack that one up. But for every other shotgun, 3 points in Big Game, 3 points in Most Dangerous Game. This is one of Flak's best kill skills, and you get 3 points in there from a really good class mod as well. It gives you a bunch of extra damage, crit damage, pair damage, handling for a very long time. Now, when we have 3 points in Big Game as well, that buffs your hunt skill duration and skill effects. Your hunt skills include Most Dangerous Game, Interplanetary Stalker, Furious Attack, as well as Frenzy. That is insanely, insanely strong. That's why I was saying an extra 3 points from a Stalker in Big Game is ridiculous. Like, you want to definitely have that if you're using a Stalker. 1 point in Galactic Shadow, a cheap 15% critical hit damage, and then 3 points in Grim Harvest. It's a small amount of damage there, but it's worth picking up. There's nothing really else in this tree that you'd want. You can put it in Second Intention if you guys would like even more reload speed, or if you don't have the DLC, like I said, that's the one you want to put it in instead of the Purple Tree Agility Training. And then finally, you'll get down to Megavore, 20% chance to hit a critical hit whenever you hit anywhere on an enemy. When you have a multi-pellet shotgun, you have a chance to hit that multiple times per shot, getting your action skill cooldown rate from head count, getting bullets back in the mag via Leave No Trace, and of course, just just doing a bunch of extra damage. And then finally, pet choice, Gunslinger Jabber all the way for bossing situations. He's a ranged pet, has an SMG, stacks the Frenzy ability up the fastest, and won't get curb stomped by Wotan. As for mobbing situations, you can switch him out if you want for better passives. The Great Horn Skag has an extra 5% damage and 10% gun damage as its passive for you. Or the Spider Ant Scorcher has 10% elemental damage and 1% health regeneration per second. Up to you guys which one you guys rock. I honestly just use the Gunslinger Jabber all the time. And that is my level 72 shotgun only flak build, plus my favorite shotguns in the game. Hope you guys found the video helpful or enjoyable. If you did, don't forget to smash subscribe down below, click that like button. Both are totally free, help me out a bunch, and I very much do appreciate it. Other than that, we also have a Twitch stream to every night. If you guys want to come check it out, we're always playing Borderlands over there, hanging out with the community and having a good time. It's linked down in the description if you want to check it out. And other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys in the next video and a live stream. Till then, adios.